Do you ever have any fleeting moments of feeling like you are just not enough? Like you somehow don't measure up in some way? Especially when we start to compare ourselves to others, which may not be something that you do on a regular basis, but even in those moments, those fleeting moments of doubt that show up, maybe in a group of your peers when you suddenly think, who the hell am I to be here with these people? Or, holy crap, if only they knew the truth about me. Well, stick around, because in this video, I'm going to reveal why that is and what you can do to overcome it. Hi, I'm Snakard, and on this channel, I help entrepreneurs and transformational leaders like you set yourself free from barriers to your success so that you can make major impact while loving life every step of the way and without ever having to give up what matters most to you. Today, we're talking about not enoughness, why you feel it, and how you can overcome it. It really is just part of our human condition. We all have some flavor of feeling not enough. Not good enough, smart enough, successful enough, beautiful enough, sexy enough, skinny enough, powerful enough, strong enough, soft enough. It seems like we're never enough of something. And on the flip side, we worry about being too much of the things we don't want to be, like being too loud, overbearing, weak, even strong. So why is that? Well, it's because you've simply forgotten who you really are. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. This human vessel that houses us and our humanity, it's a beautiful part of who we are, but it's not all that you are. You are not your body or your personality or your identity. You are a divine, magnificent extension of your Creator, and that part of you lives far beyond the 80 or so years housed inside this human body. Spiritually speaking, your soul or your inner being, that you is limitless. That you has infinite power. That you cannot be harmed and has nothing lacking or broken or missing or incomplete. You are every bit enough. In fact, I'm going to say something that you're probably going to want to argue with, but just hang with me for a second. Just consider, you are perfect exactly as you are. And you're perfect for all that you are and all that you're not right now in this moment. Now, I know that voice inside your head is probably going bananas right now. So let me just clarify. I am not talking about the cultural perfection that so many of us think about, hear about, and speak about. I'm not talking about having 3 PhDs from Ivy League schools, having some super high-powered executive bazillion-dollar a year job, or having the perfect spouse and the perfect kids living in the perfect home. That's not the kind of perfect I'm talking about. That kind of perfect, in many cases, can be an absolute scam and comes from our striving from not being enough and attempting to check off some boxes or make up for our lack in some way. Those things can be great. I'm not saying you shouldn't have those things. They can be great when you know who you really are and you're coming from that place instead of trying to make up for what you're not. But even with all those things, you may still feel, in some ways, like it's just not enough. Like you are just not enough. Because nothing can ever fill the spiritual void of forgetting or even of hiding who you really are. And who you really are is perfect and whole and complete, a perfect creation of God. Call it what you want, God, universe, spirit, source energy, higher power. I don't care what kind of label you put on it, but I believe God doesn't make mistakes. If you've ever been around a baby, you know what I mean. They exude pure light. Before they start to believe that something is wrong or broken or missing or lacking in some way and they forget who they are love and light and joy and absolute divine magnificence. They radiate divine perfection, just like you did before you forgot. When my daughter was a baby, I never looked at her and thought, gee, I'd love her so much more if only her finger was a little bit longer. This kid is just not measuring up. No, you love them for all that they are and for all that they're not, for the perfection of who they are, how they are, exactly as they are right now. And think about it. Can you really be anything else? Now, I bet that voice in your head is saying, well, Spencer, if I had only done this or that or the other thing, if I coulda, shoulda, woulda done whatever I coulda, shoulda, or woulda done up until now, then everything would be different. But that's illusion. That's comparing yourself to something in the past, looking back to what you think you should have done or should have been differently that would then change the present now. But it's all BS. That's total delusional thinking, because all we have is right now in this moment right here. And by the way, just to be clear, if you're also thinking, well, if only I would do these other things, then in the future I would be so much better. That's delusional thinking too. I mean, you can do some extent of healthy striving, is one of the terms that's been used. Striving to grow, to evolve, to become, I hate to even use the word become more, because become more sounds like you're not enough as you are right now. But you can certainly grow and evolve on your spiritual and your human path while embracing and totally celebrating and loving the perfection of all that you are right now, right here in this moment. And here's the brilliance, here's the irony almost of this, but it's so freaking brilliantly beautiful and delicious, is that it's really through accepting who you are. And I don't just mean accepting like tolerating or putting up with or lowering your standards for. I mean when you truly embrace and love all of who you are, all of what your life is, all of what everything is right now in this moment, it opens the door to allow things to continue to grow and evolve beyond that. Life is naturally growing and expansive. It wants to keep expanding. It wants to keep moving beyond. I mean, look at nature. We see this everywhere, how plants and trees grow, and even when leaves fall off trees, they come back even bigger and stronger the following year. It is a natural process of the laws of nature and of the universe that we live in to grow and expand. But when you're clutched on to who you coulda, shoulda, woulda been if only you'd done something differently back in the past, because who you are right now totally sucks and is lacking and is not enough and you should be different than you are, it keeps you stuck. It keeps you stuck in this idea of who you're supposed to be instead of allowing for you to evolve and become and grow into your natural expansion of who you are. So what can you do to overcome not feeling enough? Well, the big answer is, hopefully it's obvious by now, remember who you really are. Remember that you are a perfect, magnificent, divine creation of God, and that there is nothing wrong, there is nothing lacking. You are perfect and whole and complete and magnificent exactly as you are in this moment. Now, if you need some support strengthening and fostering that belief, as this may be a completely new way of looking at things for you, there are some things you can do. First, talk to yourself like you would to a loved one. Most of us would never talk to anyone else in our lives the way we talk to ourselves. That voice in your head that's constantly yapping, that's like, you suck. You completely blew that. That was an epic failure. What the hell is wrong with you? You know, we have that voice going all the time in our head. Hopefully it's not quite that harsh. I was trying to make a point there. But that voice that's constantly yapping away, judging and assessing and being hard on us and telling you you should be better, you should do more, you should have more, you should reach further. Can you imagine talking to a 2-year-old child that way? Can you imagine talking to anyone else that way? See yourself and treat yourself like you would your own precious child. And remember that you are a precious child of God. Your Creator sees you with eyes of love. Even if you epically fail, you don't have to do anything to prove yourself or to earn it. You are just magnificently divine, exactly as you are. Now, if you catch yourself going down one of those spirals of how bad you suck and talking badly to yourself, counter not enoughness 2-to-1. This is a simple little trick to take into account when you catch yourself, when you get conscious to those thoughts that are bringing you down, that are beating up on yourself, that are thinking how lacking you are in some way or how you've blown it in some way. For any negative sort of thought like that you have about yourself, respond back with at least 2, you can go even more if you want, but at least 2 positive things to say, ways to acknowledge or celebrate yourself or acknowledge the awesomeness of all that you are. So for example, if you think something like, I am such a slacker for going on that Netflix binge, I got absolutely nothing done. I can't believe what a sloth I am wasting time sitting around. Well, maybe counter it with something like, Yeah, but I completely rocked that conference last week and the talk I gave, and I'm so grateful that I've created this business for myself where I can take the day off and do nothing exactly as I wanted to be able to do without my world falling apart. Isn't it amazing? Which leads to another very simple practice that can be done in almost no time at all, which is practicing gratitude. Practicing gratitude can be one of the easiest and fastest ways to connect with your source. By appreciating all that you have, experiencing joy, feeling connected and lit up and alive, and celebrating the blessings that surround you. It puts you in a state of abundance and gratitude and love and connection. And you can do it in basically no time at all, while you're driving in your car, while you're standing in the line for groceries, while you're chopping vegetables for dinner at night, while you're sitting on the toilet, for God's sake. You can be grateful for having indoor plumbing and not having to walk outside to a latrine. There are so many things that we can be grateful for, and every time we practice gratitude, it connects us with our source and with the abundance of the universe, which inherently keeps you plugged into who you really are and what you're really here for. Now, click the video on your screen or linked in the description below to see how forgetting who you really are can tangle you up in fear and survival mode, and what you can do to move through the fear and thrive on the other side. And don't forget to subscribe and come back for new videos every week. See you in the next one.